Okay, and where do you think the biggest battleground states are going to be? I know we know what it looks like right now, and it may change between now and then. But right now, where do you think we need to be looking at the most?
I think Michigan is going to end up being a major state for conservatives, not only because you have Mike Rogers coming back again for a second run. He only lost last cycle by 16,000 votes. New polling shows that he is, very well positioned, both with name ID, his commitment to American First principles, his commitment to the state. I think all of that is front of mind for voters and refreshed after coming off of the loss last cycle. But Michigan also represents the land of opportunity. You've got a governor with John James that's running at the top of the ticket. You have state legislative races, both the state Senate and the state House, and you have an AG's race. And so I think Michigan becomes a full ballot initiative where you've got something on the ballot for everyone. Whatever type of voter you are in Michigan, you can get excited about one of these candidates. So I'm excited about Michigan. I think it's going to feel very much the Republican epicenter for these battlegrounds. I think North Carolina. I know I just mentioned this with Whatley, but he's coming to the state, bringing an intense amount of energy for the America First movement. Obviously, having been Trump's right-hand guy at the RNC. And he's running against Roy Cooper, who, has all of the benefits of being a Democratic incumbent without having to take any hard votes the last 2 years. And so I think North Carolina is going to have an intense amount of cash. North Carolina, to me, it's still a battleground state. It's not a red state, in spite of how well Trump has been performing there. I think that helps so much. And Whatley's going to be able to take advantage of those fruits. As he should. But I think you still have big pockets of the state that are blue. When you look at the Research Triangle area around Durham, Raleigh, and Cary, when you look at some of the Charlotte suburbs. But then you've got a great conversation about safety and security and, DAs in the state that are letting repeat criminals onto the streets that are killing America's youth. So I think North Carolina is going to end up being a great place for this conversation to happen for the battleground. So I would look at Michigan as the pickup, North Carolina as the hold. And then you and I know I'm sure we'll spend a lot of time talking about Georgia, which is in the middle of a three-way primary. And so I think, there's an open question of how quickly does that primary get settled? Is it Q1 next year? Does it bleed into the summer? Well, the later it goes to the fall, the harder it's going to be for Republicans to mount the sort of offense that they need to go against Jon Ossoff. That is not an easy Democratic senator to take down. And so I think, we can't, we should not forget about Georgia. We just need to let it continue to play out. And then when you look at some of the other states, you've got Ohio with now Senator Husted being in a position to defend his seat, going against Sherrod Brown, who, of course, just lost against Bernie Moreno last cycle. So, you can't lose once, you have to lose twice. He's coming back for more, Jenny Beth. So I would keep an eye on Ohio. Of course, there's a governor's race there too with Vivek Ramaswamy on the ticket in Ohio as well. So we're keeping an eye on that. Maine with Susan Collins, obviously a state that Susan Collins delivers for and is certainly the best leadership for the type of voter that's in Maine. Susan Collins doesn't always vote with President Trump, but she caucuses with Republicans and is a key part of getting the Republican majority that we need to grow from 53 to potentially 55. And hopefully one day we can get to 60 and be able to have a commanding majority for Republicans over the next decade.